Hey everyone, I just offered somebody $50 of free Bitcoin twice. They declined twice. And I thought the story of that would be helpful in understanding how early we are in the adoption of Bitcoin worldwide. So I went in to pay an invoice, for a relatively large invoice for something to get something fixed. And they had the option. I asked them, I was like, do you need me to pay by check or can I pay with Apple Pay? And they said, well, you can do either. And I said, well, don't you have to pay, if I pay with a card, a credit card or a debit card, don't you have to pay a fee? They said, yes, 3%. Anytime somebody uses a debit card or a credit card, they have to pay Visa or MasterCard or Discover or American Express or whoever it is, 3%. I said, well, at least that'll all be going away when everybody uses Bitcoin. And he was like, oh, the guy who was helping me, who's like one of the main people there, who knows me because I go there, somewhat, often enough that they know me. He said, "Oh, are you into that?" I said, "Yes." I was like, "Yes, if you ever want to know anything about Bitcoin, let me know. And if you want, I can send you $50 of free Bitcoin right now, like literally while we're doing it." And I figured he might say yes because we're sitting. I was the only person there, so there was. It's not like it was busy. It's not like there was other things going on. I'm a known customer, so it's not like I'm some scam artist. I mean, I'm a person who goes to this place of business regularly enough that this person knows me and knows that I'm a sort of a credible person in the world. And he was like, no, no, I don't sort of don't need it. Don't, just sort of waved it away as not something he wanted to mess with. He did not want to be given $50 of Bitcoin. So anyway, I went through the invoice and I, got it all paid and all that sort of stuff. And at the end, I forget it came up again in the course of all of that. I was like, so as I was about to leave, I was like, "You sure you don't want me to send you $50 of free Bitcoin? Like right now? I'll send it to you like right now, $50 of free Bitcoin." And he's like, "No, I just no, 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 no." I said, "Well, 10 years from now." More than half the people who walk in this place are going to pay with Bitcoin. He said, you really think so?" I said, "Yeah, I was like, most people pay a whole lot of things with contactless payments now, with just holding your phone or your watch or your debit card or your credit card, just like holding it up against the payment terminal." And I was like, 10 years ago, you couldn't do that at all. And now a huge amount of payments happen with contactless payments. And I was like, in 10 years from now, it'll be the same with Bitcoin, where more than half of the transactions are Bitcoin. I guess it was that part of the conversation. And I said, and that's when I asked him the second time, I was like, "You sure you don't want $50 for free Bitcoin?" Like, you know, basically my thought process was, I just told you in 10 years, more than half of everybody who pays for anything is going to be using Bitcoin. And so my thought process was, that was what I was thinking was, well, hey, maybe now he got some context and, might want to be sort of on the bandwagon if half the world's going to be using this, for daily payments in the next 10 years. But his answer was the same. He was like, "Oh, no, thanks, but no, not interested, no, etc." So the reason I bring that up is because right now, more than 95% of Americans own zero Bitcoin. Zero. Which means if you own any Bitcoin, you have more Bitcoin than 95% of all the people in the United States. Give me 1 second. And of the 5% of people who own any Bitcoin at all, um, most of them own like $20 or $50 or $200. Very, very, very few of them have a substantial percentage of their net worth in Bitcoin. So if you want to be ahead of 95% of all the people in the world, or even in the United States, buy any Bitcoin. If you want to be ahead of 97%, 98%, buy more than like $200 of Bitcoin. And if you want to be in the top 1% of people in the adoption of Bitcoin, buy any meaningful amount of Bitcoin that represents a meaningful percentage of your net worth, and you will be in the top 1% of people who did that before 99% of the people did that, with a majority or a significant portion, at least, of their net worth. So the other reason I bring that up is to highlight how adoption of technologies happen. You're going to hear me recommend the book a million times, The Bullish Case for Bitcoin by Vijay Boyapati, which is it's on audible.com, it's on Amazon, it's anywhere you want to be, it's on there. So The Bullish Case for Bitcoin by Vijay Boyapati. And it explains how technologies get adopted, why that happens in waves, and why there are certain waves of people that are just not reachable in each cycle. So, for example, I was not reachable in the 2013 cycle. Why not? I was too busy. I had too much going on. I was distracted. I was running my business, I had no bandwidth to be thinking about things like Bitcoin in 2013. Well, that had changed in 2017. In 2017, I was ready to be open-minded to figure out what it was and buy my first Bitcoin in 2017. But I was not reachable in 2013. Well, there was a lot of people when I was buying Bitcoin in 2017 that were not reachable. They were not ready to be open-minded. They were not ready to think about it. They were not ready to start going down the rabbit hole, figuring out what Bitcoin is, how money works, and all of that. Well, the reason I bring that up is because most of the world is full of people just like the person I was interacting with today. And they're full of people who say, first of all, clearly he doesn't own any Bitcoin. If he owned any Bitcoin, he would not have turned down $50 of free Bitcoin. Nobody that already owns Bitcoin turns down free Bitcoin. Second, which means he's in the 95% of people who own zero Bitcoin. Second, he probably is not reachable this cycle no matter what. If multiple interactions with a known commodity, a trusted customer, offering you $50 of free Bitcoin, if that results in, no, I'll pass, not interested, sort of not for me, then it is highly unlikely that this individual will buy any Bitcoin in 2024, 2025, or 2026. What is likely to happen is we get around to 2027, and in 2027, Bitcoin's bumping $500,000 a coin, more than 5x where it is today. And someone like this individual is going to start to think, people keep talking about this Bitcoin thing. Now customers are paying for things with Bitcoin. Like, I really need to figure out what this thing is. So he's probably not part of the class of 2024 or 2025 or 2026. He may be part of the class of 2027, 2028, or 2029. If I had to guess, it'd be, class of 2028, 2029, the next big bull market when everybody's still talking about it. And this individual will think, wait a second, Bitcoin's still around? I remember when that guy came in to pay that invoice and he was talking about Bitcoin like 4 years ago. If Bitcoin's still around and it's way higher than it was back when that guy walked in, maybe I need to go figure out what this thing is. So as a result, it's likely that this individual will end up adopting Bitcoin in 2028 or 2029. Well, that's great. I mean, better late than never. And that's still early to Bitcoin in the grand scheme of things. I mean, maybe 10 or 15% of Americans will own Bitcoin in 2028 and 2029, as opposed to 5 or 6% maybe, or I think it's less than 5% right now, in 2024. So everybody will eventually adopt Bitcoin. It's only a matter of time. They will adopt Bitcoin because eventually enough people will be talking about it. Enough people they know will own Bitcoin. And generally, it will just become clear to them that this is not something that's just going to go away if they ignore it. And they will start paying attention. And they will. And in 2028 or 2029, this individual who said no to Bitcoin today will say yes to Bitcoin in 2028, 2029, and they will start their journey. So once again, if you want to understand why technology adoption happens in waves like that, why only a certain percentage of the population adopts in any given wave of adoption, and why those sort of waves grow over time, the book to read to understand all that is The Bullish Case for Bitcoin by Vijay Boyapati. Again, that is The Bullish Case for Bitcoin by Vijay Boyapati. So anyway, that's how early we are. 95% of Americans don't own any Bitcoin. You can be ahead of 95% of people just by buying any Bitcoin. And if you buy any meaningful amount of Bitcoin, you're even that much farther ahead. And my experience today is the average experience you would have with 95% or at least 90% of all the people in the world. If you walked into an establishment where you frequent, where you are a known commodity and a known customer, and in the course of casual conversation, Bitcoin came up and you offered the person $50 of free Bitcoin, probably 75, 80%, even 90% of the time, they would say no. They'd be like, oh, no, no, no. I mean, they're just they're hoping it'll go away. They're hoping they won't have to think about it. They're hoping they won't have to understand what this Bitcoin thing is. Everybody, when they hear about something new, just kind of usually wishes the world would just stay the way it is, so they don't have to, their brain doesn't have to expand painfully to learn some new concept, some new thing, especially something that they feel like they might have been late to. And everybody feels like they're late to Bitcoin, including the people who adopted it the day after it was launched. They felt like they were late to Bitcoin. So Nobody's late to Bitcoin. Everybody will eventually adopt Bitcoin. The vast majority of people will adopt in 2028 or 2029 or in, 3031, probably 3032, 3033. I mean, the waves of adoption, we're in sort of the third or fourth wave of Bitcoin adoption, but there's probably seven, eight, nine, 10 waves of Bitcoin adoption before the vast majority of the earth is using Bitcoin as their primary currency. So we're still very early in those waves of adoption. And the individual I was interacting with today is not ready to be part of the wave. He does not have his surfboard ready. He does not want to ride this wave, but he will. He will. It's just a matter of time. Took me until 2017. Obviously, I wish I was a lot earlier than 2017. The majority of the Bitcoin I bought was between 2021 and 2024 because even in 2017, I didn't have a lot of time to go figure it out. I bought some, should have bought a lot more. So I did buy a lot more in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. So you can do the same. Bitcoin spent most of the last 24 hours above $100,000 per coin for the first time in history. So congrats to Bitcoin and congrats to all of you that bought it below 100,000. Bitcoin right before I started recording this, well, right now was about 99,000 per coin. So you can still buy it for less than $100,000. Big difference between Bitcoin at 99,000 when it's been as high as 104 as compared to the highest it's ever been as 99. So Bitcoin's on sale at $98,000 per coin right now. You can buy as much Bitcoin as you want below $100,000. Those days are numbered. Maybe it's hours, maybe it's days, maybe it's weeks. But I said the same thing when Bitcoin was below a 17,000, and eventually you couldn't buy it for less than 17,000 anymore. And then below 20,000, below 30,000, below 40,000, below 50,000, below 60,000, below 70,000, below 80,000, below 90,000. Now here we are. It's below 100,000. There is some limited period of time where you will be able to buy Bitcoin for less than $100,000 per coin, and eventually you will not be able to do that anymore. So right now, you can buy as much Bitcoin as you want for less than $100,000 a coin in an asset that will one day be worth $1 million per coin. There's an easy 10x upside in Bitcoin and probably a lot more than that. That's just to get with parity with gold. And I think Bitcoin's way better than gold, so I think Bitcoin will go way farther than gold. But it's got to go up, 900% plus from today's price, even to reach parity with gold, the literal yellow rock. So we got 900%, 9x just to get parity with gold. And I think it keeps going way beyond just 9x from here. So have a great day, everyone. Great time to be in Bitcoin. And you are very, very early. And you can still buy as much Bitcoin as you want before the vast majority of people realize what's even going on. So don't squander the opportunity. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.